making class, the measurements we'll be needing will be your chest point, that's the over bust, your bust, your under bust, and the waist. So to mark that, you put your tape rule at, your shoulder to chest line. For this person is 7 inches, but I'm going to start my measurement from 6.5. Why? Because the half-inch allowance at the top, I'm going to start from 6.5. The half-inch allowance at the top will be used for joining the lining. So you can see I've marked 7 inches for the over bust or chest, 10.5 for the bust point, under bust is 14 inches, waist is 17, and then you put 1 inch seam allowance. So now we want to mark the circumference measurements. You're going to first get the dart line. So the dart line is gotten by dividing your nipple to nipple, that's the bust span, divided by 2. The bust span here is 6.5. So 6.5 divided by 2 is 3.25. So you're going to mark 3.25 here from top down. You mark your 3.25. Then you're going to add half-inch allowance, add half-inch, and then you connect the point at the half-inch allowance like this. So now you're going to mark 1 inch on both sides of the dart line. Mark 1 inch. So we have 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here. So I'm going to be connecting those points too. So now to get our corset cup area, you're going to come to the center of the bust point here. So you get the distance between the bust point and the under bust. This is 3.5. So we're going to be marking 3.5 round like this. From that point, you keep moving your tape rule round and you mark 3.5 round the cup. So I've connected it round. Then you're going to connect your points together. So if you have your compass, you can use that in connecting the perfect circle. But I did this in case you don't have a compass at home. So now you're going to connect the bust point to the under bust. You connect like this. Or better still, to have a perfect curve, you can mark half-inch down, half-inch up, and half-inch down from the bust area like this, and then you connect the bust to the under bust. So you see, so this is going to give us a curve instead of the sharp points if we connect directly to this place. Now on the horizontal line, you're going to mark 1/4 inch, that's a 1/4 inch on both sides, a 1/4 inch on both sides. So we connect that to the bust point, that's the center. So now I'll be cutting out my curve area. I'm going to cut this out, cut all this out, and then I'm going to transfer these darts before you cut that out, you're going to complete your circumference measurements. So the bust point is 36 inches divided by 4 is 9. You're going to mark your 9. I'm not going to add any seam allowance on my pattern. It's when I'm cutting it on the fabric that I'll put it there. 9. Under bust is 28 divided by 4, you have 7. The waist is 29 divided by 4, we have 7 1/4. So we're going to connect. So if you don't want to have sharp ends, you can use your French curve in curving this point like this. So to get the armhole area, remember your armhole, you divide by 2. The armhole for this person is 15. 15 divided by 2 is 7.5. And so, you know, we started our measurement at 6.5. So I'm going to mark the 7.5 here. And then the shoulder measurement is 14. 14 divided by 2. You're dividing your shoulder or back. That's 7 plus ½ inch allowance. You add your ½ inch allowance, and then we're going to connect that point together, and then create your curve. And then you connect this chest point, sorry, the armhole point to the bust. Like this. So now I'm going to cut out my darts and the corset. So I've cut out, this is the center fold of my front. So I've cut out the darts. This is where we have the quarter and quarter, that's the ½ inch darts. So now we want to transfer these darts by sellotaping these points together, and then we'll sellotape these points together. For the back block, you're going to mark your vertical points at the chest, the bust, under bust, and waist, the same way we did for the front. You get your bust span, 6½ divided by 2 is 3 1/4 plus ½ inch dart allowance. You mark that, so that's 3 3/4 is what I marked down. And so the back block is going to be lower. It's going to be lower by 1 inch. Remember that we started our measurement from 6.5. The front is 7. So we're going to mark the back at 8 inches. 8. And then you connect that to the chest, to the shoulder point. So we're connecting that point to the shoulder, and then you just slant into the armhole like this. So I didn't add any allowance to this, so I'm going to cut this out, and then I'll add my allowance on the fabric. So I've used the pattern in cutting out 2 pieces of the front, center, and the front sides. So you can see I used ½ inch allowance. I left ½ inch allowance around my pattern on the center, and then ½ inch on the side, and then I added 1 inch to the extreme side of the pattern. You can see I've cut 2 for the front panels. So for the cup area, I'll be using this plain crepe fabric, and I cut out 4 of this. So we're going to have here and here, we have this and this. So now that's the front block of the corset. For the back block, I've cut out my pattern, and then I added ½ inch allowance at the dart line here to sew together, and then 1 inch for the zipper allowance on the center back, and then 1 inch on the side panel. Now to sew our corset, you're going to iron your black interface or white. Just iron your interface. It's called stay in Nigeria. You iron it on every part of the corset, and then I'm going to be sewing ½ inch like this. I'll sew ½ inch here, and then I'll sew ½ inch here, ½ inch here. See how beautiful this is? We've joined. That's the wrong side. Make sure you iron it properly. You iron, you open up your seam and iron. Then I've joined the corset area. I've joined the two pieces together. So now you're going to open up the seam. You iron here too. And then you take your cup and you fix it to the middle like this. And then now you're going to top stitch round. You top stitch it round so that it stays to the fabric. So that's the effect of your top stitching round the cup. So I left ½ inch allowance round it, or just a quarter. So when I'm sewing to my corset, I'll be sewing from this seam line, this red line you're seeing now. So once you're done shaping the bodies of the corset, now I'll place the cup in this opening. You can see the back cup. I've covered it with the fabric. So this part, this line must align with this point, and this other end too must align with this point. And you ensure that you cut your lining the same way. You must have shaped your lining like this, and then this cup area too on your lining. So now I'm going to sew 1/4 inch round the cup. So here is my sewn corset. Look at this. So I stopped just at the half of the cup. Half of the cup, that's where I stopped. So you're going to shape your lining the same way. Here's my lining. And now I'm going to sew the back block. Remember, I've sewn ½ inch on the dart points. So you're going to place the sides of the fabric together like this. We'll sew the allowance we left, which is 1 inch. You can decide to sew with ½ inch. Okay, so I'm going to place the other side, so I'll sew with ½ inch on both sides. So once I'm done with that, you put it aside and you take the lining also. You place the sides together. You sew 1 inch or ½ inch, and then we'll do the same for the other side. Once you're done joining the back panels to it, back blocks, you place the right side of the lining on the right side of the fabric like this. Then you let each dart point meet each other. Look at this, the dart points meeting each other like this. So now we're just going to sew ½ inch round. I'll be sewing ½ inch on the base of the corset. You also sew ½ inch round the cup area, and then because it's invisible closing, I'll be leaving about 3 inches hole here, 3 inches hole, so that I'll use it in turning out my fabric, my dress, my corset. So I'm going to sew that round now. So I'm done sewing, and then I pulled out the old corset from the hole I left here, and look at how beautiful it is. Here's the wrong side. See how beautiful the wrong side is. So now you're going to top stitch. You fold in the edge here, and then you top stitch this point. And so I'm going to be ironing my corset round. I'll iron it round now. Our corset is now ready. I gave it a good press, and look at how beautiful it came out. It's so beautiful, nice. So look at the wrong side. This is just beautiful. It's so beautiful. Okay, so go all the way looking sexy and beautiful and creative. You can even use this as the upper block of a dress, or of a short dress or a flowy dress, or you can even wear this and then you can put your blazer on it, your jacket. So now you just fold the block this way, and then you're going to mark your 1 inch allowance, zipper allowance, and then you're going to just fix your zipper on this point, and then that is all. If you want to use loop also, if you want to use buttons, you can use that. Whatever, just be creative with your finishing. Thank you very much. And that's the finished look of our corset. Looking beautiful.